Thank you very much for keeping it KBC Channel 1. It is now time for our next discussion. If you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Kenya. Thank you very much for staying with us right here on KBC. My name is Ram Maguko. This morning, we are talking about matters health, and it's all about the International Conference on AIDS and Sexually Transmitted Infections in Africa, ICASA. This is a conference that takes place every 2 years in Africa, and it is actually a major international AIDS conference that has been given quite a lot of focus on HIV and AIDS. This morning, to help us further understand this, I'm joined by John Kamigwi. He is the Deputy Director, Policy Monitoring and Research for National AIDS Control Council. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much.
And so many people may be asking, why do we talk about ICASA? Well, he is here to help us understand further on this, but you can be part of this discussion. Give us your take. The SMS line is on 20154. Start with the word Channel 1. Tell us your name and where you're watching us from. Our Twitter handle is on @RamAguko, @JaneWamboy, and @KBC Television. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. But first things first, Bwana John, what is ICASA all about?
All right, thank you. Just as you have introduced it, the title is ICASA. Is an abbreviation of International Conference on AIDS and Sexually Transmitted Infections in Africa. It focuses on how we address HIV and AIDS, sexually transmitted infections, and what we call comorbidities, other infections that are related to HIV and AIDS. And the aim of this conference, which happens, as we said, every 2 years, is to bring leadership across Africa to own the response and the intervention and programs on HIV, on STIs, on other diseases that are related to HIV, and mobilize resources, and mobilize partnerships to ensure that there is success in dealing with all these issues.
And looking at this year, I'm aware this year it is happening in Kigali,
Yes.
Rwanda.
Yes.
And so far, we'll be taking, saying why must we have this conversation on ICASA? Why is it an important event? And that is what I would like you also to touch on, even as you answer. Is ICASA a conference that we need to have even as a country? Is this discussion that important?
Yes. As you are aware, the highest burden of HIV is on Africa. And it affects all sectors. It affects all categories of people. And therefore, it is very important that as a continent, we join hands together and talk about it. What are we doing? Where are we? What needs to be done? What is not being done that needs to be improved? So this conference actually brings together a wide cross-section of people across sectors, from the top government leadership across Africa, to policymakers, to researchers, to implementers, and even the community level.
So many people are involved in this.
Yes.
And so far, it has been taking place for so long now.
Yeah.
Has it been really achieving its objective by the duration that it has taken as of now?
Yes, as you have said, the first one was held in 1988. Remember, HIV and AIDS was first detected in the 1980s.
By then, it was an epidemic.
It was and it remains a big challenge to the continent of Africa. So in 1988, the first conference was held in Tanzania. And it has continued to be held every 2 years. And it has been oscillating between Anglophone and Francophone Africa. In 2003, Kenya hosted the conference. And in 2017, the conference was hosted in Cote d'Ivoire. This one, as you have said, in 2019 is in Kigali in December. And the whole idea is to bring Africa together to deliberate on where we are, what needs to be done to end the HIV pandemic.
I'm aware that the theme for the conference this year in Rwanda is AIDS-free Africa, innovation, community, and political leadership.
Yes.
And we will be talking about that in a bit. But it was held in Kenya in 2003.
Yes.
Should we bring it back again to Kenya?
Yes. In fact, in 2017, we wanted it to come back to Kenya. And we even put a bid for in 2016 for it to come. But as you know, it has to be a selection process. And many factors come to play for a country to be selected. We did very well. But for some reason, the conference went to Cote d'Ivoire. So this time round,
we missed it in 2017.
We missed it. Although they told us we did very well. But for whatever reasons, it didn't come to Kenya.
I wonder how well it was in terms of our performance.
We did very well, yes. But there are very many considerations they make, including whether it goes to Francophone Africa vis-a-vis Anglophone.
All right.
Yes.
In this year, it is in Rwanda. The next time, because it happens after every 2 years, it shall be happening in the year 2021.
2021 December. Yes.
We should bid for it.
Which means we were given, all countries in Africa were given a chance to bid. And Kenya therefore put a bid. And we were pre-selected, meaning that we have gone stage 1.
Okay.
Stage 2 is where a team comes to assess our preparedness and whether we have the capacity to deliver on a conference of more than 10,000 participants.
Do you think we can get it?
Obviously,
this time round?
Kenya has hosted many things, and therefore we have no reason. There is no reason why we can't host it.
There is no reason.
No.
I remember in 2017 we missed it. Yes.
Yeah, but this time round we must get it.
And we will talk about it. Why should Kenya have it? We will talk about it, being that it has been shortlisted amongst those who should host this event in 2021. And you mentioned that a team of evaluators will be in the country, and I'm aware they'll be from the 2nd to
from tomorrow. Actually,
from tomorrow,
they'll be here for between tomorrow and 5th, and they will be talking to various people at top leadership level, at various in the various organizations, and just to us and looking at our facilities, including the proposed venue, our hotels.
Where is the venue?
The proposed venue is KICC.
KICC. All right.
Yeah, they want to be sure that we have all the facilities that would support such a big conference.
Because the
and not only that, that the logistics, people are able to move around in Nairobi. They are able to get hotels at various levels of pricing because it's a cross-section of people who will be in Nairobi. Some will look for higher-ed hotels, other middle, and so on and so forth. That variety we must demonstrate. Ability to communicate, ability to get entry to Kenya. All those dimensions are key.
And we'll be looking at those dimensions one by one, and we'll try and cover them. And, the question that maybe I would like to pose from you viewing at home, do you think that Kenya is qualified to host the ICASA 2021 conference? Are we as a nation going to benefit from it? And do you think that we will benefit from it? How far are we when it comes to preparedness as a nation? And that's what I would like you to tell us. Are we prepared as a nation to host this event?
Yes. And there are many factors here to look at. Number one, the leadership in our HIV programs at the highest government level. We have continued to demonstrate ownership and leadership on HIV. We have a strong partnerships cutting across sectors that are supporting the HIV programs. Kenya has demonstrated leadership in Africa on HIV matters. And right now we are talking about universal health coverage. This is another area that we want to continue to move and demonstrate good leadership across the continent and beyond.
Because for the past 7 years, we've been doing so well.
We have been doing well. For example, I can, for example, tell you, between 2014 and this year, AIDS-related deaths in this country, we have, by God's grace, reduced them by 60%.
60%.
We had set a target of 25%. You can see we have moved.
And you passed it.
We surpassed that. These are the kinds of things Kenya can share with the rest of Africa and with the rest of the world.
We are leading from the front.
Yes, we are leading from the front. In terms of new infections, we have been able to reduce them by about 51%. We have not reached the target we had set, but we are somewhere. So there are many things that the rest of Africa can come and learn from Kenya. And therefore, Kenya is in a position of leadership.
All right.
Yeah.
And just before we continue on with the specifics in terms of the qualifications Kenya has, we were pre-selected, shortlisted actually.
Yes.
And in the shortlisting, how many other countries do we have that are also being considered in this?
Okay. The other country that is also being considered is our neighbor Uganda. So it means competition is between Kenya and Uganda.
All right.
And therefore we must demonstrate what is it that we can do better than Uganda. That's what it means. There are only two candidates, Kenya and Uganda.
But then what feasibility will this event have in Nairobi as opposed to, in Kenya as opposed to Uganda?
The visibility here, as I said, is about, there are many things. Remember, Kenya is in a position of leadership in all those areas I've mentioned, including UHC. Therefore, Kenya is able to demonstrate a lot that the rest of Africa can learn from.
All right. Do you think that we have good telecommunications network within our country and links to other African countries and international communities?
Oh yes, oh yes. I think Kenya is in a very good position because, as you have said, we must be able to communicate. Communication is key to any international conference. We have networks of communication. People are able to communicate freely. Once they are here, they are able to communicate with their own home countries through internet, through telephone, all those. And the services are reasonably cheap.
They're cheap.
These are the kind of things they want to hear. That once somebody lands at JKIA, is he able to communicate to his home country? Is he able to move from JKIA to the hotel without any problem? And so on and so forth. The whole networking of transport, communication, and to add to that, security is key.
Because you don't want someone to get to the airport and then they are stranded. No network, no nothing.
You don't want to bring somebody like you are putting him for 5 days in a place he can never communicate with his own family.
You know, some parts of the country normally has poor network, even within Nairobi.
But relatively, Kenya, we have done well. You can communicate with your grandmother right in the village while you are seated right there. This is the kind of thing we are talking about.
What is the availability of, having a standard hotel to accommodate up to, because I'm aware we're going to host so many people, up to 10,000 delegates, 10,000 people that will be participating, as well as the conference venues with standard conference facilities. What is the availability that is there?
Right now, what we are doing is working with a whole cross-section of hotels at various stars. We want to be able to work with that whole cross-section of hotels to begin to have a coordinated process whereby somebody seated in, say, Cairo can be able to book a hotel depending on what he is able to pay without even landing in this country. By the way, what the ICASA does is that it negotiates with those hotels for reasonable rates, and then those hotels are put in a website and people are able to book through ICASA itself, through the Secretariat of ICASA. But that partnership has to be made together with the hotels, all of them that are available.
And if at all you look at the facilities within the hotels, they will also be able to give sufficient services to the delegates and the people that will be participating.
Yes, 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 yes. And the other thing that needs to be done is also to make sure that, and this is the norm, some transport is assigned to pick people around the hotels. Okay. So the location, the transport, and how they get to the venue is all coordinated as one unit.
How is this transport facilitated for the people?
There are buses that are normally hired by ICASA, because there will be an ICASA planning secretariat here that will work with us, the host country, so that we fine-tune the process of transport. Where will people be staying? How will they be picked? Because all that has to be catered by ICASA. That is why the selection process is key, just to check that the country is able to do such things. Yes.
And as we will be looking into the transport sector, communication will be well organized in terms of now how the networks will be like. And I'm looking at scenarios where we'll have teleconferencing.
Yes.
How will it be? How will you handle such things during the event?
That requires that we have partnerships, which we have already initiated with the sectors that deal with communications, ICT, especially the ICT ministry. The other companies that deal with facilities to do with communication, such as Safaricom, we will have to partner with all this and be sure that we are going to have a very well coordinated process that will work with the ICASA Secretariat.
All right.
Yes.
And
so that whatever is needed is made available at reasonable rates.
At reasonable rates.
Yes.
Do you think that our roads are good enough for us not to? You know, when you're having a visitor coming to your house, you would not want them to see some things. Our roads good enough?
Well, I would say that there is always room for improvement, but the way they look now, there is no reason why the same laws cannot help us. But there is always room for improvement.
Because you still have 2 more years. You still have 2 more years.
Remember, we are talking about 2021.
Yes.
And I am aware that there are lots of improvements going on. Yes.
Transport sector, we can put a tick on that.
Yes.
And just getting into one other issue to do with the finances.
Yes.
Getting all these things need funding. It needs financial support.
Yes.
How are you looking into that sector?
This conference, remember, is organized by ICASA. Actually, the organizers are called the Society for AIDS in Africa. This is the organization that coordinates ICASA.
Yes. And
the budget for that conference is approximately $7,000. But the country is meant to make a small contribution of about 20% for local planning, the things that will have to happen at the country level.
So we have to chip in.
We have to chip in. And in fact, one of the things they will want to hear is the government committed to make such a commitment.
All right.
This is about 140, if you convert to dollars, it's about 140 million Kenya shillings. This is just for local planning. That secretariat that will sit here doing all the local planning. Of course, if there are savings because of the conference involves registration and other things, we may recoup that 140.
It may
be reimbursed.
You know,
after that.
I was coming there. 140 million.
Yes.
That's a lot of money, sir. And I'm looking
yes,
at
that's what you may call a direct cost.
A direct cost.
But then there are benefits associated with the conference. Number one, the programs will be boosted.
Yeah.
There will be more awareness. There will be more consensus on what needs to be done. Even as we talk of UHC, there will be more consensus on how we need to move. So from a programmatic point of view, there are major benefits.
Major benefits.
And remember, Kenya is at the lead in many of these areas.
And in terms of returns, we'll have returns there.
We cannot shy away just because of 140 million. Yes.
There
will be major benefits. Remember, you are bringing more than 10,000 participants to a city of Nairobi. That means injecting foreign exchange.
Interesting.
There will be, we talk of tourism.
A boost in the tourism sector.
This is part of boosting tourism, and so on and so forth.
We hope they'll find time, to move around Nairobi and Kenya to see what we have.
Yeah, obviously there is a national park right here next to us, and many other places where people can go and visit. Yes.
Mombasa.
Yes.
Watembe, Kenya.
Yes.
Or they see what we have as a nation.
Yes. But before we get there, it is also good to remind people that there is a conference this year in Luanda, Kigali.
Yes.
Which is not far from here. And therefore people are able, they can, the booking, the registration is still ongoing. And it will be in December from 2nd to 7th of this December.
So if you find time as Kenyans, let's take a look at what will be happening in Rwanda, Kigali.
Yes.
Yeah, registration is still ongoing?
Yes, it's still ongoing. In fact, we are preparing to, we are actually right now coordinating how Kenya will participate in that conference.
Kenya will participate.
We'll have an exhibition, we'll have many people making presentations in that conference, and there is a lot to learn from that conference.
Because in as much as we are bidding to host the 2021 event, we must just not relax. We must do something in the event that is happening right now.
We cannot just sit here waiting for 2021 when there is a conference happening at the doorstep, right in our region. Therefore, we encourage people to actually participate there.
All right.
Yes.
Now, I'm still looking still on the financial commitment.
Yes.
Do you think we'll be able to come up with that kind of commitment as a nation, as a government? Do we have good commitment from the government in terms of that? Because I'm aware we need the local secretariat to be working with the international secretariat.
In submitting our bid, there was lots of support from the Ministry of Health, from the highest level. And that has demonstrated commitment in supporting the entire process, including the financing of that. And as I said, there is still a lot of more engagement that is going on to ensure that we are fully prepared, including the financing of the conference.
All right.
Yes.
Now let's talk about the government support.
Yes.
That is there. Is it enough? I'm looking at the political goodwill of the nation, of the society. We are aware, both even, that politics has an effect on the nation and the events and the activities that take place within the country. Okay.
As we say, the objective of ICASA is to have leadership, African leadership, promote African leadership.
Yes.
Promoting ownership and investment in HIV and related programs, right? Again, we have said Kenya has demonstrated leadership in these areas, including UHC, from the highest office in this country.
Exactly.
And this is therefore just a question of maintaining that momentum.
We need
The
to maintain
leadership that we have continued to have on HIV and other programs, including UHC, is just a question of maintaining that momentum. And this will be one of the key things that will be a selling point for Kenya, that we are at the forefront. And we are not shy to deal with leadership matters when it comes to all these areas.
And we can hold the ball till 2021.
Yes. The other issue which is also important and which is key is that, and we thank God that we have a stable country.
Yeah.
That alone is another major issue.
So many people, tourists, a few years ago, were afraid because of, eventualities that are there that happened in the past with regards to the post-election violence and such things. But we managed to bring them back.
Yes. Yes. And we must maintain that to continue attracting more, including participants such as this. Yes.
Also, how are we going to get the support, because you have the conference venue and capacity of plenary rooms.
Okay.
We have 5,000 seats with at least 7 breakaway rooms with the capacity from 150 to 1,500 seats.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm looking at that. Is it possible for us to meet that threshold?
Yes. As I said, we are in partnership with KICC.
Yes.
We are also in partnership with various hotels because the venue, we are focusing on KICC, but there could be other meetings happening,
exactly.
satellite meetings happening in other hotels. And we know we are in Nairobi, we have several such hotels which can host many people, even when satellite meetings are required.
All right.
Not far from the main venue.
Okay, I see.
It could be a walking distance to the next hotel nearby. And these are the kind of things that will facilitate this process. Yeah.
So we have the proper
we have
capacity
the facilities, yes.
and the facility.
Yeah.
Giving recognition to what's happening in the nation, do you think that at some point we need to improve on the security network? How is the security network so far as a country? Does it guarantee the participants' safety?
Well, as you are aware, by God's grace, we have a secure country.
Yes.
There is no reason why anybody would fear coming to Nairobi. And of course, therefore, this is something we must thank God for, and we must all maintain, right? Having said that, we are in planning for this. We are engaging the security system in this country.
Yes.
Obviously, when you have 10,000 people adding in a place like Nairobi, moving from hotel to hotel, it means a lot in terms of security.
Yeah.
And therefore, part of the assessment is for them to check, do we have that planning mechanism? Remember, they are coming to check whether we are able to do it in 2021.
They're checking it
So
now.
we have to start now to demonstrate that we have the relevant partnerships, that from the day somebody lands in JKIA to the day he goes back, he is secure.
Because we know.
And we are engaging with the relevant agencies, ranging from immigration to Kenya Airports Authority to the police and so on and so forth. This is what we are doing right now.
Because there are so many criminal minds that like taking advantage of events like this.
Yes, we do not want anything of that kind. And we are happy that Kenya has hosted major conferences without a hitch. So we have a lot that we can learn from. We are not starting from scratch. Yeah.
And still under security, we need to also beef up security at the hotels,
Yes.
so that we do not have any kind of misconduct
Yes.
that happens at
Yes.
where they go to sleep.
Yes, yes, yes.
And where they rest.
Of course,
Right.
we are working together with the hotels, with the security agencies,
Okay.
and all the others who are involved.
Now, apart from the security and whatnot, they will also be looking at our policies in terms of what we have, if at all we have any discriminatory government policy based on gender, HIV status, and religion.
Yes,
Is that true?
yes, yes.
Tell us more about that.
Actually, the interest would be that anybody who wants to come to the conference, regardless of gender and other parameters, can come. That somebody would not be stopped, that don't come because of X, Y, and Z, right? Of course, unless somebody is a criminal.
And they are predetermined that you are a criminal.
But ordinarily,
Yes.
they want to be sure that somebody who should come is able to come. And therefore, as I said, in this country, we have held many conferences, people have come and gone. Therefore, I don't think that would be a major issue. Yes.
And they will be checking on the presence of government bodies.
Yes.
That will be present there.
Yes,
How will
yeah.
how are you looking into that?
Remember, as I said, there's a partnership,
Yes.
strongly supported from the Ministry of Health and National Noise Control Council doing the central coordinating of the process. We have brought together many government agencies. They want to see that there is somebody responsible. In other words, that there is somebody who will constantly follow up. And that partnership between the Ministry of Health and the National Noise Control Council is what will give the core leadership of this process. But of course, engaging with a cross-section of partners, a cross-section of ministries that are responsible for various areas. We'll engage with the development partners such as the UN system and others to ensure the success of this conference. Yeah.
How are you planning to work towards helping persons living with HIV and AIDS during this conference?
Yes, that is important, because one of the things they will be looking for is, remember that budget I talked of 140?
140 million, yeah. Huh?
Part of it is, can we sponsor some people to the conference? Okay. They may be willing, but they are unable to go. For example, if there are people living with HIV and they would like to come to the conference,
My director
are
is
we able to, for example, sponsor some of them? There could be students, there could be other people who, because they need to be there, but because of finances, they can't be there. Sponsorship is one of the eligibility criteria, and that is where the part of the 140 million will be.
You've talked about eligibility criteria.
Yes.
My director is telling me, Epi anataka kukuja. He wants to be part of it. Is he also eligible for that? Is he part of, is he covered?
Remember, sponsorship is for people who do need to be there, but for financial reasons, they can't make it.
So, Paul sana
So
brother.
eligibility is who is able to be there, but yeah, it's a bit an issue of ability. Yes, not just interest.
So someone should not just come and say.
Of course, there will be a criteria of selection. Yes.
So to the Kenyans there, I know some Kenyans like taking advantage of events like this.
Yeah.
Unasema some will be sponsored. I also want to be sponsored.
Yeah.
Know that there is criteria that are going to be followed.
Yes.
Yeah?
Correct.
If they, yeah.
Correct. Otherwise, you have 1 million people wanting to be sponsored.
I would like to. I would like to come there.
Okay. By the way,
yes,
the partnership we are talking about involves the media. Media is a key part of that process. Publicity and communication, the media is at the center of this.
The media is at the
and
center.
we are happy we were able to come to KBC today as part of this preparation.
Yeah, KBC is always leading at the forefront.
Yes.
We are always mbele.
And we want to engage with other media houses.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are glad that we have taken the first step as the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation.
Yes.
Now you can go to other media houses.
Yes.
We have released you.
Thank you. Thank you. By the way, we are talking to them all, even as of now.
Yes.
It's only that today we had to come to this one. Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm looking at still on the issues to do with accessibility to the event.
Yeah.
Some may have problems with their visas. With I'm looking at easy access to the facility. Is there visa facilitation that we will be looking into?
That's why I said the partnerships we are having is with all the agencies that will facilitate a smooth flow from the country of origin to JKIA, from JKIA to their hotel and to the conference room. That involves visa, transport, and all the other parameters. Therefore, we are engaging with immigration. We are engaging with the airports authority so that there will be no hitch at any point in that process. So that is the preparation we are talking about.
That is the preparation we're talking about.
Yes.
And I would like maybe you to maybe give further emphasis on the issues to do with accessibility, because we will have minority groups, especially within the country. We know we have certain group of people that are not quite or well represented that may need to be felt during this event. Maybe they come from different regions within the country. How are you looking into their full representation of every person equally or with equitable representation?
Actually, what you are saying is very important. Remember, when we talk of ICASA, it's not just about a certain segment of society. It has to be, the community must be involved. Because HIV and other STIs and other diseases affect that level. And that level also has a lot to contribute in how to address all these issues.
Yeah.
Therefore, community representation is key. And
key.
one of the things that happen in a conference like this is that there will be what we call community village.
What is that?
This is an open place where communities can come and demonstrate what they are doing at their level, right?
Yeah.
It's like an exhibition space given where communities can have some space to come and...
They'll be displaying
for
their
example, people who are engaged in income-generating activities to support persons living with HIV.
Entrepreneurship.
Can come and demonstrate some of the products they have.
Okay.
Some of them can come and tell us what do they do to support their community. That space will be provided. The other thing is what I said, sponsorship. If there are people who need to be there, but the only factor is they are unable to, they can't afford, those are the kinds of people who need to be sponsored. Yes.
Thank you very much. That is John Kamigwi, Deputy Director. If at all you have any questions for him, make sure that you send them in. The SMS line is on 20154, starting with the word Channel 1. Tell us your name and where you're watching us from. It's all about the International Conference on AIDS and Sexually Transmitted Infections in Africa, ICASA. That is a major international AIDS conference takes place in Africa every 2 years. Bwana John, as we wrap this discussion up, I'm looking at the theme for this year, for the conference that will be in Rwanda.
Yes.
And just to go back, this year it is now the 20th conference. It is AIDS-free Africa, innovation, community, and political leadership.
Yes.
How far are we in the journey towards having an AIDS-free Africa?
All right. As you have said, the current ICASA conference in Rwanda is focusing on AIDS-free Africa. And the target, global target, is that has been to end AIDS as a pandemic by 2030. So various strategies have been put in place, including what is normally termed as 90-90-90, which means the first 90 is all those persons who are HIV infected, 90% knowing their status. The second 90 is having known their status, 90% of that number is put on treatment. And having been put on treatment, out of that number on treatment, 90% having their viral load suppressed, right? So there are many efforts being put such as those. And the other effort is to bring down new infections. Like in this country, as I said, we had a target of reducing infections by 75% between 2014 and 2019. We were able to reduce new infections by 51%. So we still have a gap there. And therefore, as we progress towards 2030, we want to reduce new infections to 0.
All right.
Right? These are the kinds of efforts which have been going on. So this conference, therefore, will be coming to assess how far are we across Africa towards that end of ending AIDS by 2030.
All right. And looking at we have the universal health coverage.
Yes.
Among the big 4 agenda.
Yes.
How far are we looking into that if we incorporate it into
we are happy that the government has this important agenda of universal health coverage. As you are aware, there has been a pilot done in a number of counties of this country. And therefore, we are in a place where we are going to see how we move beyond the pilot countries. And one of the things that I must say is that there is a lot that the HIV program, which has been going on for many years in this country, can contribute to the UHC agenda.
Okay.
There are structures and processes which we have been trying to see how they can be used to leverage acceleration of impact for the UHC agenda in this country. Yes. So that is work in progress. And we hope in the next few years we'll see a lot of outcomes coming out of this.
Thank you very much, Bwana Kamigwi.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you. Asante
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
And we wish you the best. And we pray that Kenya gets this 2021 event.
Thank you.
Right? I believe that we will get it.
We trust God that this time loud, Kenya will get it.
It's all about hosting the International Conference on AIDS and STIs in Africa, also known as ICASA.
Yes.
If at all you have any questions concerning that, Bwana Kamigwi has always been here. You know, it's all about making sure that we support our very own, courtesy of the National AIDS Control Council. He is the Deputy Director of Policy, Monitoring and Research at National AIDS Control Council.